the first thing I'd like to do is just go over very quickly. I'm going to basically might not be in the order you get on your screen, but I'm gonna basically ask everyone to just introduce himself in terms of this is my name. I'm from this club kind of a thing. So Joanne Gladwell.
Joanne Gladwell, Medicine Hat Golden K, and I'm the secretary.
Thank you.
And our president, Pat Dorwood, I see her name on, but she has no camera or no voice. But I talked to her on the telephone. She said you can hear what's going on, but she's having trouble with her camera.
Thank you, Joanne. I'm sure it's not Nancy, but Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim Wigglesworth, and I'm with Airdrie Foothills. I'm one of the directors.
Mario?
Yes, Mario Bruni, Kiwanis Club of West Fort Thunder Bay, past governor.
McKenna, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm McKenna Beejan. I'm from Fort Frances, Ontario. I'm the president of my club and the lieutenant governor of Division 1, and I'll be presenting tonight.
Suzanne?
I'm still having difficulties. I'm Suzanne Jacket from Northmount, and I am the lead of the membership working group, which you'll hear more about later, as I am also presenting. Thank you.
Joanne Begin.
Hi, Joanne Vegan. I'm with the Calgary Chinook Kiwanis Club on their membership committee, and with another hat, I'm also Western Canada District Secretary.
Thelma.
Hi, I'm Thelma. I'm with the Kiwanis Chinook here in Calgary, and I'm also the secretary and on the membership committee with the club.
Mr. Governor.
Meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to mute my phone for a minute while I eat my dinner, and I'll listen in. Thank you.
Ken?
Hi, I'm Ken Allen, Governor of Western Canada and member of the Kiwanis Club of West Fort. Glad to be here.
Terry?
Yeah, hi, I'm Terry. I don't have any problems yet. I'm Secretary of Northmount Kiwanis.
Mr. Snyder?
Good evening again, everybody. I'm Russ Snyder. I'm the treasurer at the Northmount Club in Calgary. And if Terry doesn't think he has any problems, I don't know.
Different opinion? Okay, so as Roland said, we've got an exciting evening. We've got two presentations. So the first one will be from McKenna from Fort Frances, and she's going to be talking about basically how attracting new professionals. As you can see, she is a young professional, so we can certainly learn from her in terms of how to attract and retain the young professional. So McKenna, as I said, is from Fort Frances, and she's 24 years old, and she's one of our youngest members. She's been a Kiwanis for 4 years. She's the president of her club, and she's also the lieutenant governor of Division 1. McKenna loves working with children. She's very passionate about her community, and her biggest goal is to get young adults just like her involved in Kiwanis. And today she's going to be talking about attracting young professionals, engaging the young members, meeting the needs of the young members, and how to retain them. So without any more further ado, McKenna, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen here. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Give me one sec here. Okay. Okay. Can you see my presentation? Is this good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, okay, so so I'm going to talk about attracting young members to your Kiwanis Club. Like Ron said, I'm 24 years old. I'm one of the youngest members. I feel like in Western Canada and in my club for sure. Here's a little picture of Governor Ken and I. We were just at the Service Leadership Program conference in Las Vegas together, because I also kind of am the district administrator for our Circle K clubs. So I liaison between our university level clubs and then the Western Canada District Board. So I kind of relay information back and forth, and I help some of the university students just with their clubs and anything that they might need. So I really like that position. It gives me the opportunity to still work with some people that are more my age. So I really like that position, and I learned a lot at this conference that Ken and I went to. So as we all know, young people are definitely our future, and we really want to, the work that we do in our clubs, we really want that to continue for years to come. And the only way that's going to happen is if we start to get younger people involved in Kiwanis. So as Ron said, yes, I am the president of my local club in Fort Frances, and I've been fortunate enough to join the Western Canada board as a lieutenant governor. Ken reached out to me I guess a year ago, and needed the position filled for only a couple months because the previous lieutenant governor was stepping down. And I would just like to say the fact that Ken reached out to me and kind of saw my potential and believed in me to do a position at such a young age really helped me and pushed me to learn more about Kiwanis and get more involved, and having a position with more responsibility really helped my confidence, I guess, in the organization. So that really helped. But as someone who is young, I guess that my biggest want as a young person is that my ideas are heard and that my opinions are valued. So as someone who's young, I feel like I'm full of, good, new, creative ideas, maybe new ways of doing things. They might not always be right, but I'm definitely full of new ideas, and I want the opportunity to share them. So that's super important as somebody who is young. And I think we need to remind younger people that they are, like this little quote, "You are the change you wish to see in the world." Young people need to be reminded that they are a future, and if they want to make a difference or they want to make a change somehow, then they are the ones that have to get involved and make that change. And then again, promoting your club. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And I think I put ask why or why not on here. I've asked a lot of people around my age, younger, older, why or why not they might be interested in joining my Kiwanis club. I think the best way to get an answer is just to ask to ask those people. If you see, young people out and about, if you have children or grandchildren, ask them why would you join a service club, or why wouldn't you join a service club, and just kind of see what their answer might be. So how to engage people. I think times have definitely changed, and we need to entice young people. Unfortunately, I don't think my generation has the same drive to join a service club as times before. They definitely need to be enticed. And I think that some people my age definitely have this mentality that they don't really want to do work unless they're going to be paid for it. So I think that we really need to promote the importance of service, and then also, what will they get what will they get out of joining your club? So they have the opportunity to work in their communities and help out and, bring their new ideas and maybe hopefully make some changes. But at the same time, there also are a lot of other pros to joining Kiwanis, and that includes, resume building. It looks really good on a resume for younger people, and that's something that they need to think about. There could be an opportunity for a job. They might be able to network with people. It might help them get a job someday, a supervisor. And I think that we need to remind young people of those opportunities, and especially when they're applying to different schools. A friend of mine, the first time she applied to speech pathology, she didn't get in because she didn't have enough volunteer experience. So she had to take a year off. and volunteer more so that she could include that on her application. And I think that younger people don't realize how important volunteering is, not only for your community, but it does provide a lot of other opportunities. So if we can get people involved earlier, then, you know, there's a pro right there. And so thinking about what they would get out of joining your club, you know, there's a lot of inclusion, there's fellowship, they're part of something. Young people, you know, they want to be part of change, they want creativity, but then we also need to remember to make things fun and fresh. So I think, you know, I said earlier today that my biggest want in my club is just to be asked, you know, what are your ideas? How do you feel about this? You know, is there a different way that we can maybe do this? And I really, really appreciate when my ideas are heard, or when somebody reminds me that, hey, that was a good idea, or hey, that was a good idea, but maybe we could do it this way. I think that that's super important, just to be open to so many different ideas, and not necessarily that you have to, you know, do all these ideas or do everything that comes to mind, but just making sure that, you know, if there are younger people in your club, that like you are hearing them and that you really, really value their ideas and their opinions. So yeah, if you do have younger people, just ask them, because they might not always be comfortable to speak up and share their ideas. And then really, really focus on the kids. So I'm going to kind of talk about that later, but I work with kids every day, and I used to work in the school system, and there's a lot of young teachers, a lot of young professionals working within the school system, and they work with kids all day, every day. So they are super, super passionate about kids. So just the fact that we can focus on kids, you know, that's another way to entice people to join our club, especially when they're already doing it, you know, but they're already enjoying their jobs every day working with children. So why wouldn't they want to do more? And then, so here's kind of where to start. So I guess how I started in Kiwanis was my mom was a Kiwanian. So that kind of helped me get interested in the organization. So I know that's like one way to start is just your family. You know, do you have children? Do you have grandchildren that might be interested in joining? And then leveraging community partnerships. So, you know, if you're out in the community and you're partnering with different organizations in the community, or you have partnerships, and there are young people that are already helping out at those events, or they're visibly involved in the community, those might be the right people. Those are the go-getters. They're already out in the community. So, you know, those are the ones that you kind of want to get to know first, or maybe ask them to join your club first, because they're already out and about and getting their faces out in the community. And then looking in the right places. So looking at, I know I said young professionals, so looking kind of at the jobs in your community. You know, people are already, well, in Fort Frances primarily, there are so many people that are moving here for their jobs. And they move to Fort Frances, they're either like a nurse or a police officer, teacher, and they don't know anybody here. So this is a really, really good opportunity to, you know, get to know some of those people that have just moved to your community and get them involved, so that they can network and get to know people and have a welcoming experience as they move to your community, and then get that sense of fellowship and inclusivity. A member of my club actually just said last week that he thinks that we should go around to some of these you know, businesses or organizations, whether it's at the hospital. We have different community organizations, and just kind of go around and maybe ask them if we can just come speak to all their employees, even if it's just for like, you know, 10 minutes, just to explain what Kiwanis is all about, and really, really source those young professionals, because we really need to promote our clubs. That's a focus that I'm trying to make right now in my club, is that, you know, I am someone who's young, I am involved in my community, and I do try to put it out there as much as possible, but there still are a lot of people that come up to me and they're like, what even is Kiwanis? What do you do? You know, what is your purpose? Where do you donate your money? So a big thing is just, you know, really, really promoting your club. I mean, I'm starting to promote my club more on social media. That's one thing. But I try to now talk about it everywhere I go, you know, bring it up. When we were at the conference this weekend, our previous trustee, Linda, she mentioned that she walks around with a pin, a CKI pin on her jacket, and on the back of her jacket, and she'll be walking around and somebody will come approach her and be like, oh, did you know there was a pin on your jacket? And then she'll get them to read it, and then she'll tell them more about Kiwanis or about Circle K, which I think is a really, really, really neat thing to do. Talk about it to anyone and everyone that will listen. If you're at an event or a service project and there are young people around, just talk about it. Hey, have you heard of Kiwanis? Hey, do you know what we do? And then I think, making joining your club really, really casual. I'm going to touch on this on kind of how to retain your members too. But I've talked to a lot of people my age and asked them maybe why or why not. Why they wouldn't join a service club. And a lot of them are just starting their careers. They're starting to buy houses. They don't have a lot of time. They're starting their families and stuff. So they can't commit to those types of things right now, which is fine. But we can always make joining our clubs, casual. It can be more relaxed. They don't have to come to every meeting, as long as we have them as a member and we have their support when we're doing volunteer activities. Just making it a bit more flexible with people's schedules, because young people can be quite busy, especially when they're working full time. And some people my age are working 2 jobs. So, and then I think what is really, really nice is inviting somebody formally. I think it really, really speaks wonders when you actually go up and ask somebody, hey, I'd really, really like to invite you to join our club, or, sending them something more formally. I think that if you are at an event or out in the community and you see a young person that seems to be really, really involved, formally invite them. Wow, I really, really liked what you did at this event. I think you would be a great asset for our team. I think that you should totally join our club. Find those young people where, they're really doing something in your community, and tell them that you appreciate what they're doing, or that they might be an asset to your club. I think that was something that, would be really, really, I would really appreciate something like that, and it would draw me in. Another thing is a girl in my community, she reached out to me. She's the same age as me. And one of the positions she holds is that she is the the Sunset Métis youth worker. So she does a lot of, work with Métis youth in our community. So, those are the type of people that you might want to outsource. Those specific positions within different businesses or organizations in your community that are already working in those positions with children, like I said earlier. But yeah, she was like, this is my position, this is what I do, and I'd really like to get involved. So, those types of people are already doing, a form of what we're doing as part of their job. So why can't they come and volunteer for us, right? And be a member. And then kind of an event idea that I am working on right now is with my club is we'd like to host a young professionals night in my community. So we're looking at renting or purchasing this restaurant for a couple hours in the evening, and we're going to do a cocktail hour with some appetizers and just invite a lot of young professionals. So we might sell tickets. We're just kind of working out all the details, and there will be appetizers, and then they can buy their own drinks. But we'll send out invitations to, people at the hospital, different organizations. We might put up posters and stuff. But I think it's really important to invite, people individually. I think that people my age really, really like for it to be made a little bit more personal. So we're going to try our best, invite those specific people in our communities that we think might be the best, fit for our club. We want to retain them, obviously, as members, and we want to just have a happy hour. So very, very casual, just a way for, young people to get to know my club and what we do, and for us to get to know them and kind of figure out, maybe this is a good opportunity for us to ask young people, what do you think about your community? Like, what would you do differently? Or what do you think our community needs? Or do you have any ideas for us? And just kind of, that could be a way to kind of draw them in, is, have an event like this and really go around and have conversations with some of these younger people about their communities and about what they want and their ideas and what they might do. And, that's how you could invite them to join your club. I think sometimes that people my age, they get a little bit intimidated if you were just to say, hey, come on up to my meeting, right? They don't really know anybody there. It could be intimidating for them. So I think the best way is to do something like this, something casual. So this is what we're going to try, and I can let everybody know how it goes. And then I guess moving on to, retaining. So I guess the biggest thing is to be flexible. Like I mentioned, so many people have different schedules nowadays, especially younger people. Jobs can be crazy. So I think it's important to be flexible with the meetings that we have, the time, the location, the day. They might look different. You might still do a hybrid model where a little bit is on Zoom and some is in person, because we want to accommodate as many people as possible. And then I just wanted to throw this idea out. It was brought up actually at my club meeting. Was we do have a lot of younger people joining since I've joined now, and a lot of them can't meet at our normal meeting time. So it was brought up. I don't know if we're going to do this, but I thought I would just throw it out as an idea if any of you think it might be beneficial for your club. But having, more of a lunchtime meeting for some of our younger professionals that can meet on their lunch hour. And it won't be a formal meeting, no really structured agenda or anything, but maybe an opportunity for some younger people to share their ideas, especially if they don't feel, either if they can't meet at the actual meeting, if they can't make it, or if they just don't feel comfortable yet bringing up their ideas in front of a bunch of people. Maybe, some of your younger members could get together on the side to kind of bounce ideas off of each other and then almost present more as a group at your formal meeting, so that they feel a little bit more comfortable to share their ideas. So that's something we might look at doing, just now that we have so many young members and our club has been growing, just to accommodate everybody's schedules. And that change is okay, and that we should be open to it. This is something that, things, as time goes on, things have changed so much. I mean, we went from completely in person to all on Zoom. It's crazy how things change in such a short period of time. And I think that we have to constantly be open to it, especially, when we want to get new young members to join our clubs. So change is okay. And I know one thing that some of our younger members, both in Kiwanis and then younger people that I know outside of Kiwanis, they're scared of people saying, well, that's how we've always done it. So that's something that's happened in my club, and we've had to address it sometimes where a new idea gets brought up, or we want to make a change to, a way that we've done a service project or a fundraiser. And, some members have said, well, that's how we've always done it. And it works, which is true. It does work, but there's always opportunity to make things even better. So if we can tweak things here or there and maybe try a newer way of doing things, that's okay too. And I think that that's something that we need to remember, that there is always a new way of doing things. And that's even something that I have to be mindful of, even as a younger person, but also as a club president. Sometimes I'll bring up ideas and we'll go around the room and just talk about, and some people bring up things I would have never even thought about, like amazing ideas that I was like, oh wow, I never even thought about it like that. Like that is such a good idea. So I think that we really need to, encourage change and new ideas. And sometimes we might not always like those ideas, but they can be very, very, very successful, and we will never know unless we try. So, and then I also think that, commitment can be scary for a lot of young people. I've talked to some people about joining my club, and they're like, you know what, I'm just too busy right now. Like, I think that would be just too big of a commitment. I don't think I can commit, or I will help if you need volunteers at a service project, but I just can't be a member right now. But if you need help, I'll be there. And I just try to remind them that, we're not a super structured club. If you can't make meetings, that's okay. If you don't make 3, you're not going to get kicked out. We want you to be a member, even if it's not going to completely fit your schedule, or if you can't commit every time. But we still want you as a member and not just as a volunteer on the side. And then we always need enticing service projects. So, this is if you do have those projects, that's a way to entice members. If you don't have those projects, that's a good way to also entice members, because you can ask, hey, we want your ideas. We're thinking about, starting this or starting this. Like, we need a lot of new people to help with this. Can you join our club for XYZ? because I will honestly say when I first started at my club, and a lot of it was doing, bingos here and there. I wasn't crazy about it. I'm not going to lie to you. That's just not something that, I was super passionate about at the time, obviously. So that was really hard for me to join as a young person. I didn't want to come in and not do anything. Like, I'm definitely going to be involved as much as I can, but that wasn't something that I really felt connected to, or I really wanted to focus and do things specifically with children. So we really need to work on some of our service projects sometimes to really get younger people interested and want to stay. And I think we need to remember that we all have something in common, no matter our age, and we all have something that we can learn from one another, whether you're 25 or you're 75. We all have different life experiences, and we all have something to offer. I mean, I work with children all day, every day. I work with 3-year-olds, and they teach me something new all the time. It's crazy. So no matter what our age, we can always find something in common. And, I am extremely close to some of my members who are 7 years old. And, we do go for coffee on the side because, I can confide in them because they are older than me, and I can ask them questions, and they've had different life experiences. So we all have something in common. And I think we have to also hone in on people's interests and their skills. So, if you haven't started a social media for your club yet, that could be a good way to get a younger member to join your club is, hey, we really need somebody to start our social media for us. Like, was that something that you would be interested in? Some people want jobs right off the bat. So you give them a job such as that if they are younger and really want to get involved. And then appreciation and recognition. I will say that people my age really do like to be appreciated and to be recognized for their efforts. And it's something that I'm trying to do as a club president. I'm trying to give out certificates at our meetings and really appreciate everything that everybody's doing and make sure to tell them thank you. But I will say that from what I know, people my age and millennials, they like to be told they're doing a good job, and they like to be thanked for the work that they're doing. So that goes for everybody in your club, but that's one thing also to retain, really appreciate when they're helping. And just to make it fun, I'm trying to make my club, more fun by doing different activities throughout our meeting. I don't want just a structured, boring meeting where we just stick to the agenda. I try to include some fun things too that make everybody kind of a bit more interested. So, sometimes we'll play a game, sometimes we'll do just different activities, and that can be quite fun. And then my last big thing is to utilize your SLPs. So, our SLPs are our future, our Key Club, our high school, our CKI, our university level kids. They might be the ones that join your club next. If you have a Circle K near you, I definitely say that you should use them. If there's any type of service project that you're hosting and you can get your Key Clubbers or your CKI involved in it, this is the time. Some of them are interested in joining Kiwanis clubs after they graduate university. So if we can kind of get them excited about that now or involved now, that is a super great opportunity. We want to keep them in the Kiwanis family. Scholarships. I've talked to a few people and they have gotten scholarships through Kiwanis, and that was a reason why they joined their Kiwanis club after university, is because they got a scholarship from that club or from their home club. So that was something that also kept them interested in the organization. I will say that we have had a couple issues with some CKI members leaving Kiwanis CKI and going to Rotary, because Rotary offers a lot of scholarships. So if your club does have the means to offer scholarships to high school students or to university students, I really encourage you. That could be a way that you could also get some younger members involved. And yeah, build those relationships if you do have CKI or Key Club members, even Builders Club. In Thunder Bay, I know the Westport Club wanted to do a service leadership or a service project with the university level kids there, and they were thinking, and we were in a meeting talking about what they might want to start. And they were like, what kind of project should we do that'll get our CKI club members, interested? What do you think they would want to do? We should think of something. And I said, oh, why don't you just ask them what they want to do? Ask them what they might be interested in. And then you'll probably have better outcomes because you know that it's something that they chose, and then you can facilitate it and do it together. So that was a thought. And then if you don't have an SLP, try maybe starting an SLP. I really want to start a Key Club in my high school in my town, because I want to get even more volunteers and younger kids interested in working in their community even younger. So I'm really hoping to start a Key Club. But if you're looking at starting, if you want to start a CKI club or any type of club, as a district administrator, I can always help with that. So yeah, and then you can contact me if you have questions about like a project that you're doing, or just about an event you might want to host, or just anything about getting, some younger members involved. My email and my cell phone number are there, so you can always contact me. And yeah, as a district administrator, I help out a lot with CKI. So if you ever wanted to, sponsor a CKI club in your city, or any type of SLP, I can kind of help you with that. So yeah, that was kind of long. I guess I rambled on for a bit there, but does anybody have any like questions or thoughts or comments or anything?
So not sure if you can hear me. This is Ron speaking. So to me, great presentation, by the way, McKenna. This, it kind of proves to me that as a 70-some-year-old, I got to go over the barrier of basically not being afraid to talk to young people when they're present at our service project and whatever kind of thing, and get them interested. If they're there and they look what we're doing and they seem to be interested, it's a very fertile ground towards basically changing the or making a potential member out of the young people kind of thing. The other thing that I also learned a lot about the presentation is what I would call our tendency in the club to be too formal about things. We need to be a little bit more flexible in terms of the way in which we approach things, and making sure that we basically bring everybody's ideas around the table. So that's basically my take, of your presentation. These are to me the gem, but there's also some sub gem. Let's put it this way, kind of thing, right? So we're a little bit pressed for time because we got a second presenter. So what I would like to do is I like to reserve about another 5-10 minutes tops for questions, if somebody has some more questions or comments. So feel free to just basically raise your hand or raise your hand with the thing. I see Ross has already raised your hand. Go ahead, Ross.
McKenna, good job. Well done.
Thank you.
You speak very well for a 24-year-old in front of a group of people you don't know. That's very, very impressive. Couple of things. One's a comment. You didn't touch on it directly, but I think you kind of insinuated a little bit in your presentation. The fact that a young person can network, and it just occurred to me when I was listening to your presentation that one of my sons is looking for a job right now. What a fantastic opportunity to network with some people that can be very well connected in the community. And I'll bet you any money they could get some pretty good leads from the current members. So I was just thinking from a networking perspective that it could be a really beneficial thing for a younger person. And the other question I had is of all your objections that you've gotten from people that you've tried to lure into the club, what's the number one objection, and how did you handle that objection?
As to like why someone might want to join or might not want to join?
Might not want to join.
I guess the biggest thing is time. Everyone says, I don't have time for that. I just can't right now. I have too much on my plate, or I'm just too busy with work. And I've had a couple people my age kind of say the same thing to me, when I asked them if they wanted to join my club. And I just kind of reassured that, we aren't super formal. It's okay if you can only make 1 or 2 meetings here or there. I will always keep you in the loop and keep you informed. And if you can make our projects, then awesome. But, we really, really want to have you and really want to have your ideas. And I just reiterate the fact that, we are flexible. And that's something that, we're willing to work on you with, is you don't have to make every meeting, but we'd love to have you as a member. So one girl, she said, you know, she's still going to join after I said that, because she has other meetings on the same night that we have our meetings. But she agreed and said, you know what, if you're going to be flexible with my schedule, I would still like to join. So
Awesome. That's a great answer. And you did mention that you would occasionally have lunch hour meetings. So you're looking at perhaps having lunch hour meetings.
yeah, we're looking at doing that. Just because I will quickly say, sometimes when I bring up new ideas at my club, I get a lot of blank stares. So, I mean, I'm okay with it, obviously,
Yeah.
but you know, some younger members bringing up some of their new ideas, you know, they might feel a little bit intimidated when they say something and there's just crickets. So we thought maybe like meeting on lunch hours with some younger members might be a little bit more productive in sharing new
Yeah.
ideas. So yeah,
Good
but yeah,
idea.
especially
Two
with the
more
networking thing.
questions. Suzanne,
Thank you.
I'm definitely having technical issues. I need one of my technical advisors to come on over. Great presentation, McKenna. And speaking of meetings, as a young person, knowing that meetings and time commitments are difficult, not just for your generation, but for everybody. I'm going to throw out something. Do you have any ideas in your brain about what would a Kiwanis club look like without meetings?
Without meetings, like if we couldn't meet, what my idea would be?
Yeah, like what would a Kiwanis club without meetings look like? Is it possible? Is it possible?
I think it can be possible, and I think that first thing that comes to mind is like a Facebook group where everyone can kind of, you know, post their posts, and if you know, the president could make one big post and everybody could comment down below. That's kind of the first thing that I thought of, is, you know, a place where everyone can still provide all of their ideas and everything can kind of get translated still. I think a Facebook group would be the first thing to come to my mind. I mean, there's
Okay.
other platforms out there too where you don't need to be like on a social media per se, but something of that sort.
Okay.
okay, next
Jenna.
question, Susan, you'll be the last one, Susan.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what about not having formal meetings, but I mean, our service projects are the backbone of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so if we don't have formal meetings, if we have a project that we do on a regular basis, we're still meeting in person to do that project. So that might suffice to be a meeting before or after the project. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All
Yeah,
right, I'd
even
like
if
to
like
close McKenna's presentation by a round of applause for a job well done.
thank you. I hope I helped. I mean, if you have any other questions or you want my, you know, thoughts on anything, just email me and I'll get back to you.
Thanks, McKenna.
Good.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So now to the second topic from Suzanne. So Suzanne Jacket has been a member of the Northmount Kiwanis Club for 16 years. She's retired now. She was a CEO of a charitable organization in Calgary. It's called Between Friends. And it's there that she was introduced to Kiwanis. And Suzanne is passionate about service. Upon her retirement in 2020, she became more involved in the workings of Northmount, and in the past year, she's accepted the lead position as the membership for the membership working group at Northmount. So without any further ado, Suzanne, the floor is yours, and she's going to be talking about basically, to me, what is one of the key about basically making sure that you've got good retention of people, which happens to be serving your members and making sure that you've got a good understanding of what their expectations are of the club. Suzanne, it's all yours.
So I am having technical difficulties tonight, so I'm just going to talk, and this presentation that I have is certainly not as good as McKenna's in terms of, you know, that being able to understand PowerPoint and do a really good presentation, but it will be sent to you afterwards. So we are going to talk about the membership survey, and the ins and outs of why, why you might want to do a membership survey, those kinds of things. And I'll leave a time at the end for people to ask questions. So the first thing I want to start with is, in times of transition, provide a perfect time to engage members in defining your club's purpose, defining your community, evaluating your service projects, and creating a list of people to invite to join you in Kiwanis. And these past couple of years have been a perfect time of transition for us. As McKenna already mentioned, we went from in-person meetings and projects to doing everything via Zoom, and everything was online, and we're, now just getting back into being in person. But, and to Ron's point as well, the reason that I decided to do a membership survey when I decided to take the lead position was, I didn't know the members as well as I wanted to. So it was about member engagement. It was an opportunity to get to know our club members better, to find out what their skills and interests are, and what and how they would like to contribute to the club. So as McKenna said, young people want to have their ideas heard and want to know that their ideas are respected. That is really no different than old people. Believe me, I can guarantee that. So we should all be finding out what our members want to do and what their skills and expertise are. I suggest that you ask members what they enjoy, what are their club's strengths and weaknesses, what they would change, what is important to them, and what projects they like and what ideas they have for new projects. It's also an opportunity to use the information that they give us to plan and improve club operations. It's an opportunity to access the skills and expertise of club members in order to move the club forward. And for Northmount specifically, we have a number of Northmount members on the call with us, and hopefully they won't, chastise me for this, but we have a declining and an aging membership. There is no doubt about it. And so for us, things have to change. We have to do things differently in order for the club to sustain itself. Longtime members and leaders of the club are wanting or needing to step back from their strong roles in leadership and operations, and that's leaving a gap that must be filled. With our club, I found out through the survey that the only people interested in leadership in our organization are those that are already on the board and are already leading groups. There was not a single other member in our club that put their hand up to take any kind of leadership role. That's a grave, grave concern for the future of Northmount. We have to get people in who are willing to lead and take leadership positions. So getting buy-in, you need to outline and be honest about the important reasons for the survey. And basically, I just already pointed those out. I firmly believed in personalizing the approach. We can do all sorts of anonymous surveys. We can send out survey monkeys or whatever you want to do. But I think I personally feel that the depth of information that I was able to gather by personally talking to everybody gave us way more value than anonymous survey monkey survey. And promise to respect and actually respect people's precious time. I found out that when I did some test surveys before I started the survey process, that it was going to take about half an hour. And if it took more than half an hour, I will honestly say it was because the member took more time. The survey itself did not require time, but the member took more time in chatting with me. So respect that 1/2 hour or whatever time you come up with. It's really important for people to be able to say, yes, I can give you a half hour of my time, but I'm not going to give you an hour of my time. So the kind of questions to include, I think, are demographics. One of the things that I found out was who's working and who's still working and who's retired. Our club is close to 50-50, but we're slightly more that people still working, which means the timing of our projects needs to take that into account. We can't have things during the day, for example, even though there might be projects to do during the day, because we won't have enough members to accommodate that. You want to find out about member satisfaction. How satisfied are your members with how your club is operating? You want to find out what sort of skills and expertise they have and what their interests are. It's interesting to find out why members became involved, why they stay, and why they would leave. For example, I found out that way back in the day, and we have many, like I said, longtime members. So let's say 50 years ago, it was a business club. And when one of our members told me this story, he was invited by a fellow business person in his community. There was no discussion of service whatsoever. They got together, they ate, they played cards. It was all social. So that impacts us 50 years later, when we've still got a significant portion of our membership who have joined for social reasons and camaraderie, and their friendships are part of Kiwanis. It's not that they don't do service, but that has to be considered as part of how our particular Kiwanis club operates and the things that we provide to our club. And why they would leave, that's really important, because you don't want to do those things that would make them leave, right? That's that gives you sort of a list of do not do's unless you want people to leave your club. Look at or ask questions about the relevance and the timing of service projects, those that excite them, meet a community need, and those that may need to be reviewed. That happened with our club. We have a few that it was really quite interesting. A number of people rated them as very, very high, but there were enough people that said, I don't know, I think we really need to look at this project and decide whether it's still relevant in our community. And they were talking about the same project. So hearing that gives us something to question in the future. Let me see. And I think one of the most important, and McKenna mentioned this as well, how would members like to contribute to their club? It's not how we want them to contribute, because they're not necessarily going to do that, but how would they like to, and try to meet their needs. And that'll talk, that's a big part of keeping your members retention. So I'll talk about the process. So develop the survey according to the needs and issues facing your club. So I already mentioned, for us, we have a declining membership and we have an aging membership. We need to address those issues. I already mentioned testing the survey with a few people first. I tested it with about 3 people, and that gave me the timing of the survey, and I added and deleted questions as we went through it. And they thought, oh, try this question, or oh, we don't need that question. Set a time to call each member using email or text. Again, that's a respect of their time. Don't pick up the phone in the middle of the day when they're at work and won't be able to spend that half hour with you. So find a time that's convenient for them. Make the calls and be as conversational as possible. Document the results and look for themes for reporting to the board. We had about 5 themes with ours, and then we had a bunch of comments under each theme. Complete a report for the board and the membership, and be aware of your own biases and promise and respect confidentiality. That's really, really important. Otherwise, people won't tell you the truth. I chose personally to do all of the surveys myself. I think it allowed people to know that there was only one person getting the information, and that if there was a bias presented, it was me, it was my bias, and they could come to me and say, that was your bias. So I didn't have to organize or coordinate a bunch of other people. And it was me. I want to give people the opportunity to get to know me as the lead. Now, I will say that it is not a quick process. It took me 50 hours to complete the surveys, to tabulate all of the information, to prepare the reports for presentation to the board and the presentation to the membership. So just be aware that that's what you're getting into. In terms of intended or the results, hang on, I've got to make sure that I've got power going to my phone. Sorry, I'm really having problems. There were some unintended results. So the intended things were, of course, learning things that I didn't know, getting to know our members better, building trust, giving an open and confidential forum for members to share feedback, establishing a point of contact for members to provide feedback in the future, assisting the board in setting future direction based on member feedback. Some unintended results were learning of member resignations happened to coincide with, when people were considering renewing their members or membership or not renewing their membership. And there was some personalization and emotional responses to the feedback. That's not to be unexpected, I suppose. And what to do with the information. You have to act on the feedback. The last thing I want is for our members to say, well, you did that survey and you took that half hour of my time and you spent 50 hours of your time. Now, what have you done with it? Is it just sitting on a shelf like the government of Alberta or Canada? But we really want to do something with the information. So one of the things that came out of it is we had very few members. Well, as I said, we had no members who wanted to be on a committee. Nobody wants to sit around a table and discuss things at infinitum. So we decided to change our name from committees to working groups. Almost everybody said, I'm willing to do pretty much anything that you ask me to do. So we're gonna, I know it's semantics, but as we recruit new members, then they will only hear the word working group. They'll never hear the word committee, unless it's by accident, which happened last night at our meeting. I also came up with a new word for myself and for our group is called volun-asking. So, there's volunteering, which people give of their own volition without being asked. That's what all of us, I would say, are doing. But some people need to be asked. So we're going to start a process where we volun-ask people. Would they do this? Will you do that? Identifying what the needs are of the club or a particular working group and ask them to help us with it. Each working group will have a lead. And then the next thing is to make sure you set direction, priorities, goals, targets, and reporting. So for Northmount, we're actually venturing forward into a strategic planning process as a result of the member surveys. So that's really all I have in terms of formal presentation. I'm now totally able and willing to ask any questions. So carry on.
I think, Suzanne, the one thing that I get out of your presentation is that at the end of the day, you had a process to do your survey. And the survey led you to basically some conclusion that might be very different from club to club, because the profile of Northmount, given basically how long Northmount has been in existence, might be very, very different than the profile of a club like my club here in Cochrane, which hasn't been in existence for 5, 6 years, kind of thing. So it's important to remember that the survey will lead you to different needs, different outcome that you need to seek after, I guess.
Totally. That's exactly right, Ron. And that was one of my first points, was make sure that you it's according to what the needs of your particular club are, because you're absolutely right. It will be different.
Anybody else, questions or comments?
Just a comment, Suzanne, the investment of time certainly must have been a real validation that what members have to say is important. And, that did you find that was a real benefit at the end of the day?
Yeah, I really think so, Ken. I think it's a little early for us to tell, although if our meeting last night was any indication, we had a record crowd at our meeting last night, both in person and on Zoom. And it may be just gaining that confidence that our members are being listened to, and that they're looking forward to the direction that the board comes up with.
Roland?
I can speak from personal experience being one of the surveyors being or surveyees, being a member of Calgary Northmount, to a certain extent, I had heard, and it was true for me, a little bit of a cathartic release in terms of we hadn't, a portion of the club hadn't been listened to for the last period of time, variety of rationales. But having someone to say, this is what I'm concerned about, this is how I would like to see the club go. Here's what turns me on, here's what turns me off. And I think, McKenna, you had said the ability to be heard, you know, whether you're a millennial or whether you're a going to get CPP, being able to express yourself freely and at least being heard was very, very a positive outcome. And Suzanne is right that last Wednesday night, between in person, and we had a number of people, including some from Palm Springs, who attended. And we've actually had a member who was visiting Ghana. So it was like midnight his time. And so the hybrid sort of gives you a bit of that flexibility, at least from a geography perspective, or whether it's -20 and snowing, or I'm still at work, can't make it there. And I think, Suzanne, I will personally give you a round of applause for the work that you have volunteered or voluntold to take on.
Volunteered.
Yeah, so kudos to you on behalf of a Northmount member.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, McKenna?
I just have a comment too. I really appreciate, Suzanne, how you mentioned that, you know, once you do get this information back from your members, that you need to take action and do something about it. You can't just like do this whole survey, get all this information and just put it away. You have to actually, you know, take action on it and share the information with your club. So I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks, McKenna.
Anybody else? Okay, well, Suzanne, thank you. And again, congrats for the presentation. And, you know, I'm sure that at the end of the day, this is an important thing for us, all of us, within our own club to do, so that we've got a good understanding of the pulse of our members, kind of thing. So here we are. We're at the end of this session, and you know, it was to me it was a super session, because I didn't have to prepare anything, for one thing. But also, I mean, I think it's the proof that at the end of the day, you know, bringing people in that basically have some specific skills. And
again, to thank Suzanne and McKenna for two excellent presentations and so many ideas. You know, the point that you raised, Suzanne, about what would a Kiwanis Club look like if we didn't meet? And again, congratulations on you know, your survey process. You know, very easy to fall back on SurveyMonkey. What you did is much more personal, and again, I think in terms of you know, connection and listening to the members. And McKenna, thank you for your insights and you know, the valuable lessons that were baked into your presentation as well. That, you know, everybody does have something to say, and we have to create a context in our club so that people feel comfortable and able to share ideas. So great evening, and thanks very much to both of you.